Hello everyone and welcome to my General Hospital Today channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Nina makes a connection that she hopes to use against Drew, and Laura warns Tracy. She's making a huge mistake. Today on General Hospital, Carly is upset to learn that Willow will be visiting Michael. Lulu receives a new house and a new job, and Brooklyn and Chase inform Lois and Ned of their intention to adopt. Laura pays a visit to Lulu's new house and tells her how proud she is of her, and how much she will enjoy her new surroundings. Laura is unable to remain, but offers to return later to assist with unpacking. Lulu insists she is well, and Dante appears. Dante greets Laura before heading to the fuse panel to flip some switches. Laura can see that Lulu doesn't require her assistance. Lulu says that while she appreciates Dante's companionship, she will always need her mother. Laura is delighted to have found a great home, but her home is also Lulu's home at all times. Laura leaves after they embrace. Dante returns and tells that the electrical outlets are working, implying that she is back on her feet. Lulu responds, "Not quite, but soon." She still needs a job and has approached a local newspaper about writing for them from home. Dante believes this will allow her to spend more time with the children, while Rocco would benefit from more time with his mother. Later, they sit on the veranda, and Dante serves lemonade in the glasses they received when they took Rocco to Disney. Lulu cannot believe they are still alive. Dante reveals that when she went unwell, he packed everything he believed she needed. The paper calls Lulu back and says they've approved one of the 3 article concepts she submitted. Dante asks which one, and Lulu says it's about adoption. Lois lied to Brooklyn and Chase. Brooklyn and Chase inform Lois that they have decided to adopt, and would appreciate Lois' assistance. Brooklyn wishes to use the same adoption agency that placed her baby. Ned steps in and inquires about a child. Ned is ecstatic when he discovers that Brooklyn and Chase are considering adopting. Adopting Leo was one of the highlights of his life, and he and Lois will do anything they can to help. Lois rushes out after receiving a call from a pal she's trying to lock down for the nurse's ball. Lois really talks to her mother and tells her that Brooklyn wants to know what agency was used to put her kid, despite the fact that they both know there was no agency involved. Lois rejoins the group, and Ned departs to conclude the legal paperwork involving Monica and the Port Charles Property Trust. After he leaves, Brooke asks her mother for the name of the agency. Lois claims the adoption was done through St. Ignatius, however their adoption offices closed 15 years ago. Ezra sucks up to Tracy. Ezra meets Tracy at Metro Court, and hopes they can resolve the crypt dispute. He suggests she seek a buddy in City Hall. She tells him to sit down and adds that, despite his link to Drew, she likes his plan to put Sonny out of business. He mentions the Esplanade, but she does not want to hear that word ever again. She understands that his referendum is mostly about getting rid of Sonny, and she wants to shut him down and remove him from the lives of those she loves about. Ezra asks Tracy whether she is willing to put her money where her mouth is. Tracy writes him a check. Ezra warns her that if she joins his side, she will face up against Sonny's friends. Laura walks in and Ezra notices that their mayor is on the list. Laura approaches Ezra and Tracy, and Ezra informs her that early polling indicates Sonny's days on the pier are numbered. He proposes she support their stand against him. Laura claims she does not make decisions on what is best for Port Charles based on polls. Tracy informs Ezra that she has his money and tells him to depart. Laura sits down with Tracy and tells her she can't believe she handed Ezra money, warning her not to trust him. Tracy disagrees, but thinks Laura should listen to him. Laura accuses Ezra of pandering and questions Tracy's willingness to collaborate with him in order to get rid of Sonny. Tracy claims Sonny has been a stain on her family and Port Charles for decades. Tracy says she wanted to warn Laura before she spoke out about Sonny and the vote. Tracy believes that ridding Port Charles of the mafia will benefit the town. Laura warns that pushing Sonny out will not eliminate the mob, and she feels that doing so will invite someone far worse, such as Jen Sidwell, to step in and take over. Tracy understands that Sonny is the devil they know, but she is willing to take a risk on a new devil. Laura says Ezra wants her to resign and asks Tracy if she agrees. Tracy assures her that she doesn't, but Laura should keep her distance from Sonny while she can. Nina and Portia find a way to reach Drew. Nina and Portia gather to plot against Drew. Portia describes Drew as a skilled manipulator. Nina complains that Willow regards him as a hero despite the fact that she knows nothing about him or his actions. Portia suggests that if Nina knows something that could push them apart, she should tell Willow. Nina says that she does not have proof and cannot risk Willow not believing her. Portia understands and brings up Drew's decision to perform this risky procedure on Kai. She claims Drew entices individuals into these situations with promises, and when things go bad, he accuses them of causing their own problems. Nina says they should set their own trap for Drew. Ezra sits at the bar, and a woman joins him, smiling and laughing with him. Nina and Portia take note, and Portia wonders why the woman is with the troll. Nina recognizes the blonde. Nina approaches Ezra and the woman and introduces herself. The woman introduces herself as Jacinda. Nina assumes Jacinda is a model, says that she may work for her in the pages of Crimson, and hands her business card. Nina returns to Portia, who cannot believe she is looking for models at this time. Nina tells her, "That woman is not a model." Ezra departs with Jacinda, and Nina says that the woman is a prostitute, whom she had to remove from the hotel multiple times while she was the co-owner. Nina mentions that they may have a job for Jacinda. Carly argues with Jason. Jason visits Carly, who informs him that she has discovered a means to permanently separate Willow from Michael's children. She has Diane prepared to go to court, even a date, the moment Michael arrives to town. Jason thinks this is a poor plan, and they're not sure what Michael wants. Jason claims that only Willow and Michael are capable of resolving this issue, which is why Willow is traveling to Germany to meet with Michael. Carly learns. Jason encouraged Willow to speak with Michael, calling it a poor decision. She reveals that Michael is still in love with Willow, so the tramp will whine and cry to get her way with him. Jason feels Michael will see through that, and he may be the only one who can help her realize she is making bad decisions. Carly refuses to cancel Diane, and Willow is powerless to stop her from ensuring Michael receives his children. Drew tells Willow that he has finalized the legal details to ensure that the children do not end up with Carly if something happens to her or Michael. Willow asks if he can put his lawyers on hold, because she doesn't want to push Michael more given his current state. Drew points out that they have no idea how Michael is doing or whether he is improving. They just have what Carly says. Willow informs Drew that she must confront her spouse before proceeding with the legal process. Drew is taken aback and deems this a brave move. Willow says if Carly is lying about his condition, she has to know so they can figure out how to proceed. Drew is unsure whether Michael will want to speak with her, but Willow says she only has Carly's perspective on why Michael served her divorce and custody papers, and she has to hear Michael's side. Drew claims she has never expressed wanting to see Michael before, so what changed? Willow says she spoke to Jason. Drew says that Jason cannot be trusted and is simply looking out for Michael, but Willow believes him. Drew admits Jason may have a point which might bring peace. Drew recommends that they travel together and make a trip out of it, but she prefers to do it alone. If Michael discovered he had accompanied her, he would react negatively, and he would not be mistaken. Drew tells her that he fully supports her, but his countenance is clearly concerned. Drew tells her how proud he is of her and how much he will miss her. They kiss and things get heated as they go to the bedroom to make love. Cody awaits his appointment at the next General Hospital. Brooke Lynn questions why she would be annoyed with him. Rick asks Molly, "If Ava is in my life, are you not going to be?" Alexis and Diane sit down to discuss some rules with Marco. Lulu discusses with Lucas about his biological father. Dante informs Kristina that their father needs his family, especially now. Jason pledges to be there for Danny. Brick is delighted Sonny has Carly at his side. Drew's negative reaction, Tracy's proposition, Jason blasted. On the next GH, tempers flare, cold reality strikes, unexpected realizations emerge, and rage is released. General Hospital teasers indicate that a preview clip has been posted for Wednesday, April 23, 2025. Drew Kane exhibits a negative reaction to Willow Tate Corinthos. Carly Spencer blows up at Jason Morgan. In addition, Tracy Quartermain has made an offer to Ezra Boyle. Drew Kane's bad reaction. Let's start with Drew and Willow. Willow tries to explain to the congressman in the preview film why she needs to travel to Germany. I could see Drew pleading, "Yes, I'll go with you." However, Willow must complete this task on her own, Without Drew's assistance, Drew will react badly. Willow can be seen anxiously trying to convey anything to him. Jason Morgan exploded. In today's episode, Jason will tell Carly about Willow's plot. However, Carly regards Jason as an enemy. It is implied that Carly will rip into Jason. I wonder if Willow will remember how much she loves Michael Corinthos once she is in his hospital bed. Willow had already signed those legal forms, and I could see Drew lording it over her head. That may be a major problem. Tracy Quartermain's offer. According to General Hospital teasers, Tracy meets with Ezra and attempts to reach an agreement. The politician responds to Tracy directly in the eyes. Ezra instructs her to put her money where her mouth is. Wednesday, April 23, 2025. Fans can also anticipate Portia Robinson to advise Nina Reeves. Portia thinks that the simplest way to separate Drew and Willow is for Nina to tell her the truth. Of course, Willow's romance could be ruined if she finds out Drew slept with her own mother. On the other hand, Willow's contempt might be strong enough to drive her away from Drew. Even if Nina risks losing her daughter, the alternative is far worse. Laura Collins also warns that removing Sonny Corinthos could result in someone even worse. The mayor undoubtedly has that right, but Jen Sidwell may already have the upper hand on both Sonny and Port Charles. Willow goes missing after her trip to Germany, and Drew gets custody of Wiley and Amelia. According to General Hospital spoilers, Willow Corinthos will travel to Germany to see her husband, Michael Corinthos, who is healing. According to spoilers, Willow is prepared to confront Michael. Willow will accompany Michael on this trip, seeking to persuade him not to sue for full custody of their two children, Wiley Corinthos and Amelia Corinthos. Drew Kane would be completely aware that Willow intends to undertake this trip. Drew recently requested that she hand over custody of Wiley and Amelia to him in the event of her death. Drew may not be Drew at all, but rather Shiloh, the Dawn of Day cult leader with whom Willow and Michael have a past. Willow's travel to Germany would be an excellent time for Shiloh to make his move for custody of the children. Michael Corinthos refuses to see Willow Corinthos. Willow appears at the clinic where Michael is recovering from severe injuries incurred in Sonny Corinthos' condo fire, and he is likely unaware that she is there. Willow would intend to surprise Michael, and when he discovers she is there to meet him, he will not want to see her. Willow would beg to see him, but the attendant would tell her that he is not interested in seeing her, and that she should leave right away. However, it is unclear whether we will meet the recast Michael in his room. Drew Kane issues an order to destroy the plane. Willow phones Drew and tells him that Michael will not see her, and that she will fly back from Germany. Drew informs her that he will send a private plane and that she will return in no time. Willow would tell him that she was disappointed Michael would not see her, but she was glad to be home and with the kids. Drew would hang up and make another call. In a shocking moment, Drew would instruct whoever was on the other end to do whatever it took to ensure the plane never returned to Port Charles. Perhaps we'd also learn that Drew is in fact Shiloh. Willow Corinthos is presumed dead and missing. We may not see what happened to Willow's plane, but time passes and Willow has failed to return. Drew would most likely receive a call while with Nina Reeves informing him that the jet has gone missing and is suspected to have crashed. Nina would be distraught to learn that her daughter may have died. Drew would pretend to be devastated, but in reality, he was overjoyed that his plan was going so well. Drew Kane has taken custody of Wiley and Amelia Corinthos. Now that Willow is considered dead, Nina and Carly Spencer would claim custody of the children until Michael can return to Port Charles. Drew would inform them that this would not be necessary because Willow had signed over custody of Wiley and Amelia to him in the case of her death, which would surprise both of them. They'd both promise to fight it, but Drew would tell them that the law is on his side. Carly would subsequently become suspicious that Drew was involved in the plane crash. Shiloh would then be satisfied with himself since he had everything planned out flawlessly and was receiving everything he wanted. Port Charles had seen its share of drama, but this felt different. It wasn't just about secrets or betrayals. It was about trust, about the bonds that held people together, and what happened when those bonds were stretched to the breaking point. Drew stared at Willow's message, his mind racing. Carly poured herself another drink, her anger simmering beneath the surface. Jason stood alone on the docks, the weight of Carly's words still ringing in his ears. And somewhere in Germany, Willow faced her own demons, unaware of the storm she had left behind. General Hospital spoilers suggest that Carly Spencer could save Sonny Corinthos from a fatal syringe. Will Sonny's ex-wife play the hero and defeat his scary intruder? In GH's weekly teaser video, a lady disguises herself in scrubs and enters Sonny's hospital room. Colette Moreau appears to be posing as a nurse in order to carry out her next attempt to kill Sonny. Regardless of who Colette is working for, or what her motivations are, it appears she will attempt to kill Sonny with a needle filled with a lethal mixture. Sonny will be vulnerable in his hospital bed when this occurs, and he will require immediate assistance. Carly may sneak in and possibly hit Colette over the head to stop her. However, Carly may engage in a wrestling fight with Colette, and wind up jabbing her with the syringe in the process. Whatever the situation, the GH writers have paved the way for Carly to potentially save the day. In the April 21st episode, Jason Morgan approved of Carly accompanying Sonny to Los Angeles, because he's going to need a lot more help than he thinks. That sentence seemed like the perfect way to set up the next attempt on Sonny's life, along with Carly's heroic move. Jason will be correct that Sonny needs more assistance than he realizes since he is set to experience another close call. Carly could be the one to save Sonny from a terrible fate, and ensure that he returns home to his family as planned. The show may be showing the first symptoms of a Carly and Sonny reunion, so what better way to bring them together than for Carly to keep her previous love alive? This could be excellent news for fans who are looking for a new chapter with Sonny and Carly. Carly will support Sonny as he undergoes this heart surgery, and will eventually heed to his medical team's projections about what to expect. However, the true purpose of Carly's travel may be to serve as a rescuer in a catastrophic situation. According to General Hospital teasers, Sonny and Carly's friendship will grow stronger during their vacation to Los Angeles, so stay tuned for updates on all the highs and lows. Drew and Kristina are in everyone's thoughts today in Port Charles. If you missed General Hospital, here is a recap. Ava Jerome enters into Rick Lansing's hospital room, looking like $1 million after a shopping spree. She got Rick a watch that he cannot accept. He insists that everything be returned. He warns her that after months of struggle, walking about flashing cash will make her appear suspicious. She must fly under the radar if she does not want to be caught. Ava despises it but accepts that he is correct. She then tells him that money is a turn-on before crawling into his hospital bed with him. Will Kristina be committed or confess? Diane Miller still wants Alexis Davis to accept to Kristina Corinthos' court commitment. Alexis tells her about their girls' night and how enjoyable it was. Diane advises that Kristina be committed, while keeping Molly Lansing Davis in the dark about the accident. Alexis understands that Molly would not stop looking for the truth until she discovered it, so that would not work. Diane also tells her that Rick is on the opposite end of the accident Kristina initiated, and the truth will eventually come out. Alexis feels convinced she can handle Rick, and instructs Dee to trash the commitment papers. Instead, she organizes them in a folder. Alexis then travels to visit Rick to assess the issue. He calls her out on her nervousness and informs her that he is remembering things. He recalls her deranged daughter attempting to murder Ava, but nearly killing him and Elizabeth Baldwin instead. She attempts to belittle him, but she doesn't get very far because Rick is more than prepared to turn Kristina in. He believes eliminating Kristina from Molly's life is the best present he can give her. Alexis begs Rick to not tell Molly about Kristina. Rick enjoys seeing Alexis, who is generally very moral, pilfer money from a youngster solely to keep her daughter out of jail. Kristina arrives at Elizabeth's house, and Lucky Spencer answers the door. She claims that the guilt over triggering the disaster is eating her alive. She has nightmares, and when she wakes up, she discovers that this is her true existence. Kristina claims that the only way she can be free is to confess. Lucky says he can't tell her what to do, but the question is how much a confession would cost her. He tells her to make apologies in whichever manner she can. Lucky advises Kristina to quit letting her emotions drive her, and to abandon her vendetta against Ava. She decides not to confess and instead suffers in silence rather than upsetting her family by telling them the truth. Kai's risky surgery is scheduled. Curtis Ashford talks with Trina Robinson to talk about Kai Taylor's forthcoming surgery. Trina and Curtis both agree the surgery is a major mistake, but Kai thinks it is worth the risk. Trina is unsure whether she can fully support him because the surgery may paralyze him. Kai informs Drew Kane that he has decided to have the procedure. He is overjoyed because Drew has given him hope that he can play football again. Drew suggests documenting his surgery adventure, and Kai agrees that if Drew thinks it's a good idea, he's in. Portia Robinson receives notification that Dr. Mohender, Kai's future surgeon, would be visiting GH next week to undertake the dangerous procedure. She goes to confront Drew about pressuring Kai into a risky procedure. She asks him how he'll feel if Kai ends up in a wheelchair. Drew believes nothing will go wrong and threatens to reveal Portia's secrets. Curtis knocks on Drew's door and asks why Portia is there. The three of them then talk about Kai's surgery. Willow is fighting to keep her children, and Carly is prepared to fight for them. Nina Reeves storms into Carly Spencer's kitchen and announces that Drew is house-looking in D.C., and that they need to break up Drew and Willow Corinthos as soon as possible. Carly accuses Nina of failing to support her when she confronted Willow in an attempt to reach her. Nina tells Carly that if she is too blatant with Willow, she risks losing her attention and just listening to Drew. Nina also adds that bringing up Nellie again is not acceptable, and Carly agrees. Carly also claims she is going to have her grandchildren and is done waiting. General Hospital recap April 22nd. Rick and Alexis truce is off, and Willow is ready to visit Michael. Nina convinces Carly that they want the same things or appears to, but Carly continues to phone Diane after Nina leaves. Carly addresses the likelihood of a custody battle, and wishes to schedule a court date that only she and Michael Corinthos know about. Willow texts Jason Morgan, asking him to meet her. She begs him to help her keep the children. She wants Jason to speak to Carly, but he refuses. He reminds Willow that she is her final chance to rescue herself out of the situation she has made. He informs her that everyone's opinion is merely noise. Only she, Michael, and their children matter. Jason advises that Willow travel to Germany to meet Michael face to face. He reminds her that she and Michael are in this situation because they stopped speaking, to which Willow agrees. It appears that she is coming to pay Michael a visit. The weak glimmer of the bedside lamp created long shadows across the room, providing the only source of light in an otherwise black space. Carly Corinthos walked gently, her bare feet scarcely making a sound on the hardwood floor as she crept approaching the bedroom door. She hadn't been able to sleep because something felt amiss, a nagging discomfort that had crept deep within her. It wasn't simply the typical stress that comes with being married to a man like Sonny Corinthos. This was unique. This was instinctive. Down the hall, the tiniest squeak of a floorboard sent her heart racing. Someone was inside the house. She did not hesitate. Carly reached for the baseball bat she kept stashed under the dresser, a habit she had developed throughout her childhood in Port Charles, where danger was always just around the corner. She edged toward the hallway, gripping the handle tightly and taking small, controlled breaths. The house was unusually silent, indicating that something was awry. Then she heard it. A quiet shuffle of movement coming from Sonny's study. Her husband had been working late, as he frequently did, immersed in ledgers and phone calls that never seemed to end. Carly believed he had fallen asleep at his desk again, but the thought sent shivers down her spine. If someone got past security and made it this far into the residence, she accelerated her pace, her bare feet silent on the velvety carpet. The study door was slightly ajar, and she saw the intruder, a figure clothed in black who moved with methodical precision. The glimmer of metal attracted her attention, a syringe in the intruder's gloved hand. Sonny was reclined in his chair, his head tilted to one side. Unconscious, or worse. Carly did not think. She acted. With a rush of excitement, she pushed the door open, the wood smashing against the wall with a harsh crack. The intruder turned toward her, his eyes widening in surprise, but Carly was already swinging. The bat struck the side of their skull with a terrible thump, sending them falling back. The syringe dropped to the floor and rolled beneath Sonny's desk. The intruder recovered faster than she anticipated, lunging at her with a snarl. Carly nearly avoided, feeling the rush of air as a gloved hand flew past her jaw. She swung again, this time going for the knees, and the pleasurable crunch of impact confirmed she had reached her target. The person collapsed with a grunt, but they were not finished yet. A hand reached out, grasping her ankle and pulled hard. Carly landed hard on the ground, knocking the breath out of her lungs. Pain erupted in her ribs, but she ignored it and kicked blindly. Her foot made contact with something solid, the intruder's shoulder or their face, she wasn't sure, but the grasp on her ankle relaxed just enough for her to scramble back. A syringe. She needed to get the syringe before they did. She rolled onto her knees and reached for the desk, fingers extending for the gleam of metal just out of reach. A hand grabbed her wrist, tugging her back, but Carly turned and drove her elbow into the intruder's ribs. They gasped, their grip loosened, and she took the opportunity to struggle free. Her fingers tightened around the syringe just as the invader grabbed her hair and pulled forcefully. Pain erupted on her scalp, but Carly gritted her teeth and swung the bat blindly again. This time it had a substantial impact, and the grasp on her hair loosened. The invader staggered back, clutching their head, and Carly did not hesitate. She surged forward, slapping the heel of her palm across their nose. Blood spurted, and they stumbled back into the bookshelf, exclaiming in a strangled voice. A framed photo smashed on the ground, creating a piercing sound in the tight calm. Carly didn't give up. She seized the intruder's collar and pushed her knee into their stomach twice, causing them to double over and gasp. With one last shove, she brought them flying to the ground, their heads hitting the floor with a dull thud. Breathing hard, she stood over them, bat raised, ready to strike again if they twitched. But the figure remained motionless, unconscious, or at least smart enough to pretend dead. Only then did she turn to face Sonny, her heart in her throat. "Sonny!" She dropped the bat and dashed to his side, pressing her fingertips on his neck in quest of a pulse. When she felt the steady thrum beneath her fingertips, she felt relieved. He was alive, just unconscious. A syringe. Had he been injected with anything? Her hands shook as she checked his arms, looking for signs of a puncture hole. Nothing. They must not have had the opportunity before she interfered. A grunt from the floor reminded her that the threat was not completely eliminated. Carly grabbed the syringe and held it like a weapon before turning around to face the invader. "Who sent you?" she said, her voice low and threatening. The figure sighed again and rolled onto their side, but did not respond. Carly poked them with her foot as her patience wore thin. "Talk. Now." The invader let forth a faint giggle, then coughed. "You're more impressive than I expected, Mrs. Corinthos." Carly tightened her grasp on the syringe. "Flattery won't save you." Before she could continue, the sound of rapid footsteps echoed down the corridor. Jason. He must have heard the commotion. The door sprang open and there he stood, gun drawn, eyes scouring the room in a second. His gaze moved from the unconscious invader to Carly, then to Sonny, who remained sprawled in his chair. "What happened?" Jason's voice was calm, but she could detect stress behind it. "Someone tried to kill Sonny," Carly stated, handing out the syringe. "I stopped them." Jason's jaw tightened as he observed the situation. He took a step nearer and placed 2 fingers on Sonny's pulse spot, just as she had. "He's alive." Carly exhaled shakily. "I know. But we need to find out who did this." Jason nodded before turning his focus to the visitor. He flipped them over and took off the black ski mask in one fast motion. Carly's breath caught. She didn't recognize the man's face. He was in his early 30s and had a jagged scar along his cheek, but the expression in his eyes was familiar. Cold. Calculated. "Who are you?" Jason demanded, his voice as steel. The man smirked, blood dripping from his split lip. "It doesn't matter. You will never find out who sent me." Carly exchanged glances with Jason. They both understood what that meant. A professional. Someone who would not speak easily. But that didn't stop them from trying. Jason dragged the man to his feet, his hold tight. "We'll see about that." As Jason took the intruder out of the room, Carly returned her attention to Sonny, gently shaking his shoulder. "Sonny, wake up." He groaned and his eyelids flickered open. He looked up at her, disoriented. "Carly? What?" "You're okay," she murmured, her relief sweeping over her. "Someone attempted to kill you. I stopped them." Sonny's sight intensified, the cloud of drowsiness lifting as he took in the smashed glass, overturned chair and blood on the floor. Then his gaze fastened on hers. "You saved me." Carly gulped hard and nodded. "Yeah, I did." For a long time they just stared at each other, the weight of what had nearly transpired resting between them. Sonny then reached for her hand, gripping it firmly. "Thank you." Carly gripped back, her voice steady. "Always." The sound of approaching sirens pierced the darkness, announcing the arrival of assistance. But in that moment, all that mattered was that they were still alive. And who had dispatched the intruder? They'd regret it. The house was exceedingly silent. Carly Corinthos had learned long ago to believe her instincts, and right now, every nerve in her body was screaming that something was wrong.